The announcement has come. Soon we could be seeing one of the greatest roller coasters to ever roam the earth. Months of speculation went by. What could this new Jurassic coaster possibly be? Will it be something world class or just another solid addition? Then, seemingly out of nowhere, construction had commenced, and we realized that we could be seeing something brilliant. Unlike any roller coaster, a new breed of coaster, VelociCoaster. If you've been living under a rock and haven't heard yet, Universal's Islands of Adventure in summer 2021 will be opening a brand new intimate LSM coaster themed to the Jurassic World franchise named VelociCoaster. On-site track pieces were first spotted in early April, and since then vertical construction has continued quickly and steadily. But we didn't have an official announcement until last week. Even before the announcement, the hype was real, but I can now officially say that this is one of the most hyped up roller coasters ever, and it's really a beam of light in this dark year, you could say. So the ride will be located in the Jurassic Park section of the park, as you might have been able to guess. And let me tell you that this will fit in great. I noticed when I was at Islands of Adventure that there were areas that were jam-packed with rides and things to do. Then there were those kind of dead areas that were a little bit lacking, and Jurassic Park was one of those. It's mostly just Jurassic Park River Adventure that they have there, and while I may love that ride, it's not enough to support a whole park area. Combine that with VelociCoaster though, and it is. The ride will feature 2 LSM launches, giving Universal Orlando Resort a total of 12 launches, across Revenge of the Mummy, Hagrid's, Hulk, and now VelociCoaster. VelociCoaster will hit a top speed of 70 miles per hour, and this is thought to be reached during the second launch, but it could possibly be after the main drop. That drop will be part of a 155-foot tall top hat element, which will be the max height of the ride. It will feature many elements that interact with the terrain, including 4 inversions, an Immelman, dive loop, a 100-foot long zero-G stall, and a hardline roll. Along with that, there will also be 12 seconds of airtime, mostly probably quick pops of ejector. So let's get into the POV animation courtesy of Amusement Insider. You start by going through a slow themed section that will likely feature some screens, as this is Universal or maybe an animatronic or two, but we'll get more into the theming later in the video. Then you pull out onto the launch track before being absolutely throttled forward in what looks to be a launch comparable to another intimate Sandy's Blasting Bronco, which actually just opened. After that, you head into a sharp turn upwards that will probably provide some good G's, then you dive back down and up into the first inversion. You're only upside down for a very short period of time, but I do still consider it an inversion. Then you hit a sideways ejector hill, followed by one of the many insane near-miss moments featured throughout the ride. At this point, you can see that looks to be very disorienting. The ride is turning, going all over the place in every direction, unlike a ride like, say, New Texas Giant, that always seems to be turning in the same way. Back to the right, you have an ejector hill followed by another hill, some banking sure to throw you off some more. Next, you hit that second launch stop to hit 70 miles per hour, and I think I can say for sure that you will definitely be able to feel this launch, maybe unlike some other rolling launches. Following the launch, you soar up into the 155-foot tall top hat that will give you a spectacular view, not just the park, but probably much of Orlando too. And finally, you hit that 100-foot long zero-G stall that will likely give you some of the best hang time on Earth. It looks comparable to the zero-G stall in Goliath at Great America, and I can tell you from experience that getting hang time at such a speed feels absolutely insane. Now you come to a twisted ejector hill, likely a highlight of the ride. After that, you have a few more airtime moments that look pretty solid, and before you know it, you're heading into what looks like one of the best inversions out there. You get so close to that water, and I think it looks comparable to the zero-G roll on max force, but probably better because of that water. Now the ride isn't necessarily over at this point, but what happens next we don't exactly know. People have been speculating, and there are a number of possibilities. Some people have been throwing around the idea of a drop track, and I think that could work if they added in some amazing dinosaur animatronic next to where you drop down. But I think I'm going to go with what Theme Park Hunting said in his analysis, that there's 2 drop tracks in the same park, the other being on Hagrid's of course. The novelty kind of goes away. Something else I think might be kind of cool is if they installed some sort of switch track and then launched the train backwards into another ride section before being brought back to the station. But I don't really see them going for that. But what I do think that they're going to do is just not have any more elements, but just have a cool themed room with some stunning animatronic that serves as the dessert for the experience. Who knows, maybe it's just another what's in the shed, but I think that whatever goes there will add to the ride and have some cool theming. That won't be the only part of the ride though with good theming, as you have theming scattered throughout the entire thing, as you've probably noticed by now. Of course, it is themed to the widely recognizable Jurassic World franchise, and I have to say that I'm not really a big fan of the Jurassic World movies, but I love Jurassic Park, so I'm hoping that they'll be able to capture some of the charm of the original. But this isn't a movie review, so back to the ride. The general theme is that you're a velociraptor escaping captivity. It's a cool idea. I wish that maybe they could have fit the trains more at the theme, maybe have some cool Velociraptor Zero car or something, but the theme will still be well executed nonetheless. Also, you may have noticed when we were looking at the POV that at points some of the pacing seems a little bit choppy, with the ride slowing down those big elements, but I could actually see that fitting with the ride's theming as it fits with the escaping Velociraptor theme. Think about it, if you're trying to run away from something, or in this case fly I guess, you're probably going to need to stop at times to think about your next move, so that's kind of what the coaster is doing. Everything seems to tie together nicely into the theming, and I also have to mention how amazing that rockwork looks like it's going to be. It only just started construction, but still, it looks like it could be some of the best rockwork of any coaster in the world. Really, its main competition is Tron if you consider that as rockwork, and some of those cool looking Chinese coasters. This theming is probably, in my opinion, the reason why even though the track is complete, the ride will not be opening until summer next year. It's kind of like how Fly had been finished for a while, but the theming just needed to be put in place. But to a lesser extent, of course, because this is Universal and they have strict deadlines. Overall, Hagrid's is often labeled as one of the most well-themed coasters ever, and I think that VelociCoaster could at least somewhat compete. Moving on to the trains, a lot of people have been talking about that LED light package, so of course I have to give my thoughts, and I think they'll probably be just like everyone else's. These lights will make VelociCoaster a spectacle to look at night that will really just help to build anticipation for park goers. The trains are going to be pretty long, 12 rows in all, so it will likely be a completely different experience in the front and back. The front looks to enhance that theming and the near misses a bit more, while you get that whip and intensity of the ride in the back. As someone who cares most about the ride, I think that I would probably prefer the back. The long trains will not only help provide intensity, but they'll also of course increase that capacity that's crucial for coasters at a Universal park. I mean, hey, at least you'll only be waiting 11 hours on opening day instead of that 14 that you would be facing. Another positive is that the trains look to be very comfortable. They use the same restraints as Taiga and Turan. They're often heralded as better than T-bars, and some of the best restraints, if not the best restraints out there. And it'll be the first coaster in the United States to use them if it opens before Pantheon. Those lap bars will also make for some good laughs, because they will scare the GP, and that is a fact, because only a lap bar, that's so unsafe. It'll be hilarious. Now moving on, an important question to ask is how does this impact the park? This might be a little out there for most of you, but I could see VelociCoaster pushing Universal Orlando Resort to being neck and neck with Ferrari World Abu Dhabi for the launch coaster capital of the world, and I could see Islands of Adventure becoming my number 2 park in the nation behind of course Daddy Cedar Point. You know, I kinda wish that I was going to Universal Studios Florida instead of Islands of Adventure though, because there was already a decent gap between the park's ride collections, and VelociCoaster will only further exaggerate that, but it's still of course going to be a major gain for Universal Orlando Resort. It will up the quantity of coasters that you could argue is kind of lacking at Universal, while somehow improving that already incredible quality. Overall, I think it's safe to say that VelociCoaster is going to be taking the world by storm when it opens in 2021, and unlike some people, I don't think that it will be the best roller coaster in the world, but it could compete with Iron Gwazi for the new best coaster in Florida title. So that's going to wrap up the main portion of the video, and today's shoutouts are going to be Coaster Hour, Coaster Dog, and Mr. Cola Roaster, all 3 of which have cool unique channels, so check them out. And they were the first 3 to correctly answer last video's trivia question to correctly name 3 numerical stats about King Ka, so congrats. Anyways, I hope you all have a great day. Remember to leave your suggestions, thoughts, and video ideas in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys later. See ya.